Hi everyone, Brian Hotzik here with NCSI. Today I want to talk to you about BrightPattern, a very cool technology we have to expand your ITSM experience. You know, technology has shifted a lot over the last 10 years or so. Previously, we were the innovators. We were bringing technology to the user. But in the ITSM space, we've kind of lagged behind a little bit. You know, we have traditional methods that we interact with our user. Maybe that's things like email, or they call in, or we have things like self-service. But when users are interacting with other customer service systems, they can use other channels. Maybe they're using something like text messaging, or they're using something like Facebook or Twitter, or being able to chat with a support representative. All of these things kind of exist today, but they exist outside of the ITSM space. We want to bring them all together into something called Omnichannel. So Omnichannel is the ability to support your users across any platform that they want. If they want to maybe start with a text message and then that evolves to voice, we have the ability to bring it all together and tie it together inside of the ITSM tool. What we also do is bring in really cool things like artificial intelligence and bots so that we can help maybe deflect some calls or be able to solve end users' problems without them actually having to talk to an agent. And then actually have the agents as well as part of the ecosystem when we do need to get a technician involved to help solve a problem. So this product from BrightPattern works with all major ITSM systems. Let's see how it works. Today I'm going to be playing the part of Alan. He's going to have various issues. He wants to call into the help desk to get some help with his services. So to start with, maybe he has a printing problem. His invoices can't print. He's going to pick up the phone. He's going to call into the service desk and look what those interactions look like. So let's give them a call.
Thank you for calling for Trillo. Alan, how can I help you today?
My invoice printing doesn't work.
I see you're having a printer issue. Is the toner light on?
Yes.
Our facilities department takes care of toner refills. Let me get you over to them.
So you can see a couple of interesting things happen there. First of all, it identified me based on my caller ID. It knew that I was Alan. Then it posed a question to me of, how can I help you? What we did is we did some really cool transcription on the back end to understand the voice that I spoke, transcribe that into text, and then sent that over to a bot. In this case, we were using Watson. Watson is our suggestion engine to come back and ask further questions. So in my example, if I'm having a printing problem, if it's a toner problem, we go over to the facilities department. If it's not a toner problem, we're going to go to the IT help desk. So let's call back in, and this time let's have not have a light on for the future.
Alan, how can I help you today?
Invoice printing doesn't work.
I see you're having a printer issue. Is the toner light on?
No.
Okay. I'm going to get someone in the IT department to help you.
So we're going to route over to the IT help desk. And if we switch over here and work with Mr. Hoskins, you can see that he has received an incoming phone call, and it's automatically popped up an incident in his service management system so that he can start working with me.
So you can see I've got the incident here. We've got some of the details. We found Alan. We've got some invoice information. I'm going to go ahead and take some ownership of this and say, get it to a status of active, and that I'm going to be the technician that's assigned to it as David Miller, who's logged in here. Also see it can link in assets that are associated with Alan in this case, and you'll notice up here I'm on an active phone call, and we're working that through to try and figure out a problem, a resolution for Alan.
So Alan's still on the phone with David. What if David was the only analyst around today and a next user called in? Let's go through that scenario and see what we would handle if all of our agents are busy. So we're going to call in on a different phone.
Thank you for calling for Trillo. Alan, how can I help you today?
I can't print.
I see you're having a printer issue. Is the toner light on?
No.
Okay. I'm going to get someone in the IT department to help you. Please hold. Your estimated wait time is
1 minute, 5 seconds.
If you would like us to call you back when it's your turn, press 1.
So you can see what happened there is it actually announced that there was a wait time.
Call you back
It's
at.
going to announce what phone number it's going to call me back at. So what happened was it recognized there was a queue, it makes the announcement that there is a queue, and then gives the virtual queuing option to say, I don't want to sit there and wait on hold, I just want to be called at the next available time. So what's going to happen is Alan is going to hang up with David here. What's going to happen is as soon as David goes back into a ready state, that he's finished his call, a phone call is going to happen.
So you'll see here, as soon as I say I'm complete with the previous one, it's then going to recognize that, and it's going to automatically call me and Alan together along those lines. It also opened up that incident for Alan and be able to work through all of those different details along those lines. So we have all of that information connected to there as well. And then this one again now puts me back into a not ready state because I'm helping the next customer.
Okay, so let's go through where potentially we already have an existing issue. So I was working with David, and he wasn't able to solve my problem, or I opened it via self-service or something like that. I'm going to call back in, and I have an existing issue. So let's see what happens now.
Thank you for calling for Trillo.
Alan,
I see you have an open issue. Are you calling about that?
Yes.
I see you are working with David.
So what's going to happen here is the same thing kind of that you saw before. It's going to ring into David, it's going to open up that incident, and we're going to work together. So David was available that time. What if David stays in a not ready state? Let's call back in if David was out to lunch or working with another customer. What would happen in that case? So let's call back in.
Thank you for calling for Trillo.
Alan,
I see you have an open issue. Are you calling about that?
Yes.
I see you were working with.
David,
They are not available right now. Would you like to leave them a message, or should I have them call you back?
Voicemail.
Okay, please leave a message after.
So you can see we created a decision there, and I can control how this works. I either wanted to leave a voicemail, or I wanted to be able to have a callback like you've kind of seen before. And the AI was smart enough to understand the difference between voicemail and a message. So we could then have that voicemail attached to the incident, or have it be transcribed and attached to the incident. Lots of different ways to do that. Through another interaction, this time we want to go through chatting on a website. So here we have the Virtuala website. In my case, I just put it on our public website, but you could have this on an intranet or something like that. You can see down here, it doesn't know who I am because it's just public website. It's going to ask for my phone number. Now, this could be based on my email address or my username, or really whatever I want. I'm just using phone number in this case. It identified me. It said, "Hi, Brian, how can I help?" So I'm going to say something like, "My ERP is slow." So what's going to happen there is it understands the logic that I said ERP. That ERP is connected to a business service. We went and looked through our outstanding problems to look for any severity 1 problem related to the business service called ERP. Look, in this case, it actually found one. It came back and said, we put the description in there. We're having a performance issue where the ping responses are too slow, and asked me if I'm having that problem. In this case, I'm going to say, yes, I'm having that problem. So now what's going to happen is an incident is going to get created. That incident is tied to the problem. When the problem gets resolved, I'm going to get notified that that particular issue is fixed for me. So let's go through that same scenario again, but this time let's not have that problem. So once again, it's going to ask for my identification. Again, if I had this on my intranet, I could probably have passed over my username and not even have to ask them. I'm going to say the same kind of thing, except I'm going to call it Oracle. In my world, I call it Oracle for the ERP system. So Oracle is slow. Again, we use that AI logic to detect what I really meant. I still meant the ERP service. It goes through and checks the servers. Really, I was able to check that within 100 milliseconds. I added an artificial delay there to tell the user, hey, we're actually going and looking at it. Makes it feel a little bit more human. In this case, I'm going to say, no, I'm not having this problem. So what's going to happen now is it's going to connect me with an agent. So if we see David's screen here, you can see an incoming chat pop up, and I can interact just like we were with voice.
And so you can see here, I've got the whole chat screen associated with all of the information along those lines. I've opened up that incident with Alan that I can go through and see and say what is going on with ERP.
And in typical user fashion, I didn't really mean ERP, I meant my printing. So I'm going to say I'm having a printing issue.
Now, you'll notice as I go through and see that that's a printing issue, the bot has not gone away. It's still there monitoring this whole system, and it's in this whole chat, and it's giving me suggestions as to things that I can respond back with associated with that.
Yeah, so this is really great because you can see the AI never leaves the equation. We're going to assist that agent and tell them more about what they could do or give them suggestions. Maybe I want something more than that. Up here at the top, I could escalate this to an actual phone call if I wanted to start a VoIP call, or if I wanted to do a co-browsing event. Co-browsing is kind of like a remote control, but it only does the web page that you're looking at. And what's great about it is it gives you the ability to see what they see on each other's screen. So here we have our screens side by side. As soon as David goes and accepts that, the screen sharing request, he's going to be able to see the website that I'm on, and we're going to be able to do that co-browsing. All right, our last scenario we want to go through is interacting via text message. Perhaps you have a retail scenario. You have a user that's sitting at a retail environment. They're working with a customer right now, and their POS terminal goes down. How can we interact with it? It's not a good time to pick up and walk it back and log into the shared computer and submit something through self-service. Let's do all that via text message. So here we have our phone. They're going to go through and send it a text message. So it's the same number that they were calling into. They just reach out and say, help, I'm having a problem. The bot's going to come back and say, how can I help you? I'm going to say something like POS is down. We're going to recognize what POS means, and we're going to ask a follow-up question. Is it one terminal or is it all of your terminals? Maybe my first example, I'm going to say it's all of them. So I'm going to reply with all. That may be a big deal in our environment. So we're going to go through an example where we've created severity 1 issue. We've notified the regional manager. This is a big deal. We can't sell anymore. So based on that feedback, I have escalated that incident to be very, very important. Let's go through that one more time, and let's just have an individual POS terminal down and see how we could reply. So again, I'm going to say that POS is down. And this time when it replies, we're just going to say that we have a single one. So I'm going to say 1. We're going to follow up and say, well, maybe now's not a great time to help you because you walked over to another terminal. I could come back and say, hey, do you want just a call back in 15 minutes? Maybe I want to say, yeah, let's do 15, meaning I want to call back in 15 minutes. It's going to then schedule and have someone call them back in 15 minutes with that auto callback that you already saw. So a great way to interact. You can see it's very quick, very easy. I'm still mostly talking with the bot. But what if we needed to get an analyst back involved? One of our agent needs to communicate with this user. So let's call back in one more time or text back in, and let's have that ERP issue that we were having earlier. So I'm going to say ERP slow. We're going to recognize that. We're going to check for outstanding problems just like we did before. Where the user could go through and subscribe to that problem and have an incident created for them if they wanted to. But let's go through and say, no, I'm not having that issue. So we're going to route over to the IT support now. So let's jump back over to David's screen and we can see what it looks like.
So we're going to go ahead and accept that chat request. However, one key thing that you will notice that's different now is that we're going to start to see that history, but now we're opened up into ServiceNow instead of Avanti Service Manager that we were looking at before. So we can go through and have integration to several different platforms, whether it's a ERP or a CRM or an ITSM solution. We can track and connect to all of them.
And you can see the chat message down in the bottom left now is going across SMS. So as David, our analyst, types in messages or is getting suggestions from the bot, all of this is going across the SMS channel instead of the chat channel that we saw before. So that's that omni-channel that we always talked about. So here I am as an end user interacting with the service desk, interacting with a real human, started off as a bot and then transitioned over to human via text message. All right, so let's look at this from a manager's perspective. Here we have Mary logged in. She can look at all of the different scenarios that are happening, and we can do quality control. You can see all the different times that we've interacted. Did it come in via chat? Was it voice? What was our analyst that was working on that? Even really cool things like sentiment analysis. Here we have a little frowny face indicating that that particular user wasn't happy. We do recordings for quality control, so I can even show you what the entire chat looked like, as well as a screen recording of what the analyst screen looked like during that interaction. So lots of cool ways to do quality control associated with that interaction. As you can see, BrightPattern adds some great flexibility to your existing ITSM platform. Remember, we integrate with all the major manufacturers as well as CRM applications. So if you want to learn more, click the link down below or talk to your NCSI salesperson. Thank you.